Hey, this is Tracy Nelson with Creation Adventures, and because of the nature of the video and the noise in the background with the forge going, I'm just going to kind of narrate what's going on. So this is, I'm calling it, Forging 101, and I'm working on a knife blade, and I'm out of practice, and so I'm at a friend of mine. This is Don and Don and I are going to kind of tag team this piece of metal and going to beat out a knife blade. And Don's already got in his mind what he wants to do with this piece of metal, but I'm having trouble following him. And so for a while there, as I'm working on this piece of metal, I'm not exactly sure what's in his mind. He knows exactly what he wants to do with that. And finally, after we work on it a while, I kind of, get on board, so to speak. I start understanding what he wants to do with it. But so what we're doing is, first of all, we heat it up red hot, and we bring it out of the forge. We lay it on the anvil, and the first thing we're trying to do is it has a long tail on it, long thin piece, and we're trying to straighten that out. And I'm going to make a stick tang knife out of this blade. And so it's really difficult to hear what I'm saying over the forge, but all you're going to see is me and Don work this blade on the anvil, and we're working the edge, what's going to be the edge of our knife, and we're flattening this thing out. When it's red hot, we're just working our way with the hammer. We're about midway as far as the width of the blade is, and going down. So it's just and this forge is it's a propane forge. It's lined with some insulation, and I forget the name of it, but it's what they use to insulate like boilers with. And he's got some fire bricks around the front of it to slow the escape of the heat. Now this forge is so hot that if you put your hand in front of that opening you see we've got the big welding gloves on. If you put your hand there, then it's going to severely burn your hand. So that's the thing that makes forging a little bit difficult if you're not used to it. Now Don's got his apron on, I've got an apron on, but I've also got a face shield on. Don's not wearing a face shield, but I am, because I've had some stuff fly up, and I just decided not to mess with it and be safe and sorry. But so when you get it out of there, you've got 2 or 3 minutes of work time while that metal is still glowing hot to work it. And if you if you're slow or fumbling around with it, then you lose that time to work on it, and so it has to go back into the forge. So a lot of this is just work, hammer for 2 or 3 minutes, back in the forge, back and forth, until you get this blade to the thickness, or thinness I should say, that you desire. And then there's some cutting involved where you maybe want to shape the blade a certain way, make a certain kind of point on it, and then also working the tang. So it's I'm way out of practice at this point, but I catch on pretty quick. I mean, since I've done it in the past, you see how glowing hot it is. So I've got just a few minutes to work that thing. I'm working down that edge. It's just a raw piece of metal that Don has cut ahead of time out of an old disc harrow blade. So the first thing we had to do, we had to kind of straighten it out on the anvil, and that wasn't any problem at all. But you can see that the metal's already cooling off. It's losing that red color. So anyway, that's kind of what we're doing today in this video. I'm just starting this series, and I want to try to take you through this whole process. Well, the first thing we did is with this piece of metal, and I didn't show that, was we heated it up to it's red hot and we let it cool all the way off, and basically we were taking the temper out of the metal, and now we've made it where the metal is softer and we can work it better. So that's kind of what we're doing right now, and we're tag team this thing. He'll work on a little bit, he'll hammer, then I may hammer for a little while, and until we get the desired what we want. So as you watch, Don he's working that, and he like I said, he knows exactly what he's wanting to do with this blade, and I'm just not getting it. Okay, you see what happened there? And so that's one of the things you have to really watch out for, is that blade slipping out of your tongs, especially if you have it on its edge like he did. He's trying to work the tang by hammering and hammering it flatter, and do as much work with the hammer as he can, instead of having to do so much with the belt sander. So I finally started understanding that. Now, when he pulls this piece out, this is a piece of another piece of a disc harrow that he's heated it up, taking the temper out, and what he's going to do, he's flattening it because it was a little bit curved, being part of a disc. He's flattening that out, but he's going to draw out a pattern like a blade that he's seen on the internet, and then all he's going to do is do a stock removal on it, and then put the temper back in it after that. And actually, I end up with that blade. Now I'm taking over for a second. Now, like I said, we're tag teaming. I think I finally have figured out what Don's plan is with this piece of metal, and so I want to start working the tang right now. And what we're trying to do is just pull that tang, make it a little longer. And Don has already made a place using the anvil where the blade edge will start, and so. It's just a process of heating the blade up, getting it red hot, and then taking your hammer and working that metal when it's soft. As you've heated it up, that it's gotten real soft, and you just work that out. And like I said, you just have just a few minutes to work it before it cools off to the point where you got to put it back in. So it's just in the forge, out of the forge, in the forge, out of the forge. So it's weight, hammer, and it's a process. It takes some time. And I'm going to show you the product. I like to show you this so you can see the transformation of this piece of metal and how it becomes, a pretty nice blade in the end, and take you through this process. So.
Yeah, I'm just pulling that blade out. Trying to get the blade now. Next time we come out, we're gonna turn that end up.
Woo! Mercy. It's like work.